Like, a sports car just stuck in the garage.
Yeah, yeah.
Today, we're talking Bitcoin DeFi and how Bitcoin is breaking free to power a whole new financial system.
It really is fascinating to see Bitcoin, which is known for its stability, being used in such a cutting edge way. What specific opportunities, from your view, do you see with Bitcoin DeFi that kind of grab your attention?
Honestly, for me, it's that potential to unlock what Bitcoin does best, right? The security, the transparency, but doing it for everyday transactions. But I'm curious, before we get into, all the details, how did Bitcoin even become a part of DeFi in the first place? It wasn't designed for this, right?
Right. Yeah, you're totally right. Bitcoin's original design, it didn't include, these really complex financial applications that we see in DeFi today. Developers really had to, get creative to make this work. I kind of think of it like, if you had a classic car and you wanted to adapt it for modern roads, you need workarounds, but the result can be really, really impressive when you get it right.
Okay, so what are the key adaptations that make Bitcoin DeFi possible? Are we talking like really serious tech wizardry here?
Well, I mean, it's not so much wizardry as it is, cleverly building on top of Bitcoin's existing strengths.
Okay.
So one key element is layer 2 solutions. So you can almost imagine this like, building a high-speed rail network above existing train tracks. These solutions, like the Lightning Network, they allow for much faster, cheaper transactions, but it's all built on top of Bitcoin's blockchain.
Okay, so that addresses like the speed issue, right? But how does Bitcoin itself actually interact with all these other blockchains where a lot of DeFi is actually happening? I mean, it's not like they all just, speak the same language.
Yeah. Right. And that's exactly where wrapped tokens come in. So these tokens, they're a bit like, it's like creating a digital representation of your Bitcoin.
Okay.
But you're doing it on another blockchain, like Ethereum, for example, where it can then interact with the DeFi applications on that chain. Wrapped Bitcoin, or WBTC, is a prime example of this.
So it's almost like, exchanging your dollars for euros to use in a different country, but for the crypto world.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay. But what about the brains behind DeFi, right? The smart contracts. How does that work with Bitcoin?
Yeah, so that's where things get really, really interesting. Bitcoin didn't initially support smart contracts, right? These self-executing contracts that are written in code.
Yeah.
But now platforms like Stacks, they're changing the game.
Yeah.
They're essentially bringing the power of smart contracts to the Bitcoin blockchain.
So now Bitcoin can actually handle those complex financial agreements that are like the heart of DeFi. So what kind of like real world applications are we talking about here? This is what I get really excited about.
Yeah, me too. The possibilities are constantly like expanding, it seems like.
Sure.
We're seeing decentralized exchanges where you can swap crypto directly without a centralized authority. We're seeing platforms for lending and borrowing, but using Bitcoin as collateral, and even like tools for managing your entire Bitcoin DeFi portfolio, all in one place.
Wow. So we've gone from Bitcoin just kind of sitting in a digital wallet to powering like a whole suite of financial services. This sounds like a whole new world opening up, and I'm ready to explore it. So give me some specific examples. What platforms are like leading the charge in this Bitcoin DeFi revolution?
Yeah. Let's dive into some specific examples.
Yeah.
One platform that's really caught my eye is ALX.
Okay.
And they're building what I would call like a Bitcoin DeFi ecosystem.
Okay.
It's a one-stop shop for all things Bitcoin DeFi.
Okay, so ALEC is taking the like everything under one roof approach.
Right.
So what does that actually look like in practice? What kind of like services can you actually access through their platform?
So they've got a decentralized exchange, right? So you can swap your crypto directly.
Okay.
They've got these launch pads for new Bitcoin DeFi projects that want to gain some traction. And they even have tools for managing your Bitcoin DeFi portfolio, but across all these different applications.
Yeah.
It's really about providing a seamless experience for users, but all within their ecosystem.
Interesting. So other platforms might, specialize in one aspect of DeFi, but Elegix is aiming to be that go-to hub for the entire experience.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the strategic thinking behind that approach?
Well, I mean, especially for newcomers to DeFi, I think it's a really smart move, right? It lowers the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Because they're offering this really user-friendly interface, and you've got this wide range of services all in one place. And I think, having all these different projects under one roof, it can really create some synergy.
Right. Yeah.
It can really drive innovation because they're all kind of feeding off of each other.
It's like the difference between, going to a really specialized shop versus, like a department store.
Exactly.
Sometimes you just want that convenience of having everything in one place.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. So that's ALS, the DeFi department store. Laughs. I like that.
What about a platform with maybe a little bit more of a focused approach?
Yeah. So a great example of that is Lysa.
Okay.
And they're all about liquid staking.
Okay.
So imagine being able to earn interest on your Bitcoin holdings.
Yeah.
But you're not locking them up completely. That's the magic of Lysa.
Liquid staking, yeah, that's been making waves in DeFi in general.
Yeah.
Unlocking that earning potential of your assets without having to sacrifice flexibility.
Right.
But it almost sounds too good to be true.
How does Lysa ensure the security and the reliability of their liquid staking platform, especially since it's built on Bitcoin?
Well, that's the $1 million question with any DeFi platform, right?
Yeah.
Trust is absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
Lysa leverages really robust smart contract technology.
Mm-hmm.
They've undergone really rigorous security audits to try to mitigate as much risk as possible.
Okay.
But of course, I mean, as with any investment, users should,
yeah,
always do their own research, understand the potential downsides.
Yeah.
Before they just dive in.
Right. Security is non-negotiable, especially in the DeFi world.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to another player in the Bitcoin DeFi space, Xlink.
Right.
What's their unique contribution? I mean, just their name makes me think of like bridging something.
Yeah, you're on the right track.
Okay.
Xlink, their focus is on cross-chain interoperability.
Okay.
So they're building these bridges that allow you to easily move your assets between the Bitcoin blockchain and other blockchains in the DeFi space.
Interesting. So instead of having your Bitcoin, confined to just one blockchain,
right,
you can move it around to different DeFi ecosystems, like seamlessly.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a game changer in terms of just like really expanding the possibilities of what you can do.
Absolutely. And that's what they're trying to do, is break down these walls between all these different blockchains, right, and make the DeFi experience a lot smoother and a lot more interconnected.
Yeah, I can see why that's a compelling proposition, especially as the whole DeFi landscape, just gets more and more diverse.
Right, exactly.
So we've got Alex, building an ecosystem. We've got Lisa focusing on liquid staking. We've got Xlink, facilitate like interoperability. What about a platform that's maybe tackling like a more traditional financial service?
Yeah, so Zest Protocol is a prime example of this.
Okay.
They're building a decentralized lending and borrowing platform.
Yeah.
But they're doing it on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay.
So imagine, being able to use your Bitcoin as collateral for a loan.
Yeah.
Or being able to lend out your Bitcoin to earn interest, but you're doing it all without this traditional, financial intermediary involved.
That's huge. That's like taking like the core functions of a bank and just decentralizing it, but using Bitcoin and smart contracts.
Right, exactly.
What kind of an impact do you think that this could have on like the traditional lending and borrowing? Is this the beginning of the end for banks as we know it?
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far. I think traditional finance still holds a lot of weight, right?
Yeah.
But these platforms like Zest Protocol, they're challenging the status quo. Mm. They're offering an alternative. Right. I think whether or not they'll, completely replace traditional banks, that's debatable.
Yeah.
But they're definitely pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the world of finance.
It's like we're seeing a whole new financial system being built, or like right in front of us.
It really is incredible.
One last platform I want to touch on is Velar.
Okay.
What makes them stand out?
So Velar, their big thing is they're laser focused on making trading on the Bitcoin blockchain as smooth as possible.
Okay.
So they're building a decentralized exchange, but their priorities are efficiency and keeping the costs really low.
Okay.
They really want to unlock that full potential of Bitcoin as a trading platform.
So Velar is all about making Bitcoin trading faster, cheaper, more accessible.
Exactly.
That sounds like it could attract, a lot of users, especially people who might be, kind of put off by how complex other platforms are, or maybe even just the fees.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what they're going for, right? Trying to remove those barriers and make Bitcoin trading as frictionless as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But, with all this exciting innovation happening, I think it's also important to talk about some of the, the potential downsides as well, because no system is perfect, right?
Yeah.
There are always going to be risks, especially in the DeFi space, which is, still very much evolving.
Yeah. Let's get real for a second.
Yeah.
What are some of the risks that just come with diving into, this whole world of Bitcoin DeFi? What do our listeners really need to watch out for?
Well, I mean, security is always going to be a major concern in DeFi.
Right.
And remember how we were talking about smart contracts before?
Yeah.
As powerful as those tools are, they can also be susceptible to bugs, to vulnerabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And a single coding error in one of these smart contracts, that can lead to, some pretty significant financial consequences.
That's a sobering thought.
Yeah. And it's a good reminder that we are still in the early days of this technology, right?
Yeah.
Things can and do go wrong.
Yeah. It's like the Wild West out there.
It really is. Yeah. It's exciting, but
Yeah.
you gotta be really careful.
But you gotta watch your step.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Another risk is regulatory uncertainty, right?
Right.
So the crypto space in general, it's still trying to find its footing when it comes to, governments all around the world,
mm-hmm.
and regulations. They can change really quickly.
Right. So what's allowed today, might not be tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah. And that just adds this whole other layer of complexity and risk that you have to try to navigate.
Wow.
And then finally, we can't forget about the user experience part of this, because DeFi, I mean, let's be honest, it can be really complex. It can be
mm-hmm.
confusing, especially if you're new to this whole space, mm-hmm. and that learning curve can be really steep. So, it's so crucial for anyone who's interested in this to do their research.
Yeah.
To start small and never ever invest more than you can afford to lose.
Words to live by, seriously, because it is easy to get caught up in all the excitement, but you gotta proceed with caution.
You do.
Okay, so we covered, a lot of ground here, right? From the kind of technical foundations of Bitcoin DeFi to all these exciting platforms that are really pushing the boundaries here.
Yeah.
As we look ahead, I'm curious, for you, what are your thoughts on the future of Bitcoin DeFi? What trends are you most excited about?
Well, one trend that I'm really excited about, and that I think it has potential to be really transformative, is this idea of cross-chain interoperability. So that's different blockchains, but they're all working together seamlessly.
Uh-huh.
And it's creating this much more interconnected DeFi ecosystem. And I think we're starting to see the first steps towards that, but we still got a long way to go.
It's like building bridges between different countries.
Exactly.
Imagine if information, if value could just flow freely between all these different, blockchain ecosystems.
Yeah, the possibilities are pretty much endless when you start thinking about it that way.
What else is kind of on your radar?
Another area that I think is really exciting is what's happening with, NFTs and tokenization, but on the Bitcoin blockchain specifically.
Okay.
So imagine owning a piece of digital art or even, real estate, but it's all secured by the Bitcoin blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
That's becoming a reality with NFTs and tokenization.
That's mind blowing.
It's like we're just scratching the surface of what's possible.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up our deep dive on Bitcoin DeFi?
Yeah, I think the main thing to remember is that Bitcoin DeFi is still, it's young.
Yeah.
But it's growing at this incredible pace. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of excitement around it, but I think there's also a healthy dose of skepticism, mm-hmm. which is a good thing.
Right.
The key is to, stay informed, be cautious, and never stop learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It really is an exciting time to be, following the evolution of finance.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe some of our listeners will be the ones, building the next big thing in Bitcoin DeFi.
There you go. Yeah.
Thanks for diving into this with me. It's been a really fascinating conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a lot of fun.